Hello, it's Lee here from Walking Derbyshire, and today I'm going to be reviewing this. This is the Luxtreme SL25R from Nebo. Now this is one of my go-to torches when I'm out hiking in the Peak District and beyond. Also use it for camping and caving as well. So I've had this torch for well over 3 years, so I've got a lot of hands-on experience with it. The question is it worth your hard-earned cash? Stick with me to find out. So in this review, I'm going to go through exactly what it does, how it handles, and whether it's worth the investment as a general outdoor adventure torch. So the specs. Well, the SL25R is a rechargeable spotlight. It runs on a single 18650 lithium ion battery, which is included, and charges via USB-C through the device itself, which is accessible under this rubber flap. So to access the battery, we lift this hinged flap there, and you can see there is the battery, and there is a compartment to store a spare as well. It weighs about 400 grams, so it is quite heavy, and it is quite a bulky torch as well. The dimensions are roughly 180 mm tall, about 93 mm wide, with a depth of 60 mm. It comes with 3 different lighting modes. You've got the spotlight, which apparently is 500 lumens. That lasts for about 2 hours and can beam up to 400 meters. You've got a white and red cob light here. The white is about 300 lumens. That lasts for about 4 hours and is good for close range tasks within a few meters. And the red is 30 lumens. That lasts for about 5 to 6 hours and is useful for preserving night vision, or if you're in a tent and you don't want to blind yourself in the middle of the night, the red mode's really handy for that. So it has this mode select dial at the rear. It has 4 options. 0 is when it's off, R is red mode, F is flood mode, and S is spotlight. It does have this trigger button at the front, so you need to select what mode you want, then hit the trigger button and the torch fires up. So just to demonstrate, you can see the red mode there. You can move the dial when the torch is on, flood mode and the spot mode. You can see it has 4 LEDs, which is the battery indicator. Additional handy features include a tripod mount, has 2 very strong magnets at the bottom to allow you to stick it to a metal surface, and also has this belt clip, which is very handy if you want quick access to the torch. The torch is water and dust resistant. I think has an official rating of IP67 and has a roughly 1 meter impact resistant rating. I've dropped this many times. It's been out in storms and it's still been good to go. Right, so I'm off on a night hike. I'm entering into one of the local nature reserves near me. It is pretty much pitch black, so I can demonstrate the torch to the best of its ability. One thing with this torch that I've noticed, and I don't know if it's because I've got a dodgy torch, but it's never been able to get to the top LED when charging. It's only ever had 2 greens and a red. So like I say, I don't know if that's something to do with the battery, but it's always been that way for me. So this is the torch on flood mode. It gives a fair bit of light. You can see it goes about 10 to 20 meters. It's a nice spread. If I whack this off and then back on, you can see it does distribute plenty of light. The red mode, as I say, this is perfect if you want to keep your eyes' natural ability to see in the dark. It doesn't blind you. This is 30 lumens. But let's go for the Spot, the main feature of this torch. Look at that, that's got to be about 50 meters. You can see no problems in the distance there. So let's have a look over this lake. We do get tawny owls around here. We might be a little bit lucky and see one in the trees. So look at that Spot going right over the lake. You can clearly see in the trees there. We've got the jackdaws starting to roost. Let's continue on a bit further down the path. So you can see with this torch, it's got that nice ergonomic rubber grip, which does make it feel very nice in the hand. So I just want to do a quick comparison between my phone's built-in LED. You can see, look at that, you can barely see anything, a couple of meters at best. Now if I just bring up the flood again on the Nebo, and you can see how much better that is. So we're just looking over the lake here, and I'm going to bring up the Spot mode, and we can see there in the distance a tree. It's probably about 150 meters away, has no problems lighting that up. A couple of other trees there about a couple hundred meters away. I think the sweet spot with this beam is probably about 250 meters. Beyond that, it does start to struggle, but there is no doubt that it is a brilliant torch for picking out things in the distance. So that's it for the testing, the demonstration. As you can see, it's a very capable torch. Now, just as a little bit of safety, that beam is very strong, so never shine it in anyone's eyes because you will blind them. Okay, let's go and find out the pros and cons for this torch. So pros for me with this torch, it does have a strong long range beam. It really does throw far, which suits hiking and caving or any situation where you need distant visibility. I like the modes, so having a Spot, a Flood and Red gives real flexibility for different needs and different situations. It's got a really good solid build. It's made of very strong stuff, and I like the little extras like the magnetic base and the tripod mount. So cons for this device, well, it is bulky, it is quite heavy. It's not the sort of thing you probably want to be carrying if you're doing a long distance hike, because it's just going to add too much weight to your rucksack. It doesn't really fit in your pocket. This one lives in my rucksack when I go out on night hikes or adventures. If you've got a nice big deep pocket in your hiking jacket, you may just get it in there, but generally this is not a pocket torch. The battery inside this torch is proprietary. Replacements have been very hard to come by. In fact, for the first year, even Nebo weren't supplying them through their website. It's only in the past 6 months that you can now get a spare battery to put within the compartment there at the bottom. However, if you want a spare battery from Nebo, even though these batteries are rated as the 18650s, I've got loads of these, but they do not fit this torch. You have to buy a proprietary battery. If I want one delivered here, they are $17.99, which is ridiculous for a battery, which is just a simple 18650. The other slight disadvantage with this is that it's only 2000 milliamps, which is not that large for an 18650 battery. Fortunately, there are third-party batteries that you can get that now fit the Nebo, and another plus is that they tend to be higher capacity. So this one I managed to pick up for £12, which is £5–6 cheaper than the Nebo variety, is 3400 milliamps, which gives you 50% extra runtime in the Nebo. Now, one thing I've not touched on is the price. So I got mine when this device first came out and I paid £80. Now I think that's a little bit steep for this torch, because there are other equivalents out there that tend to be cheaper and actually offer some slightly better specs. You can pick these up for less than £50. I've seen them online. I think B&Q were doing them for £40. If you can pick one up for 40, then it's definitely a worthy companion to fit in your rucksack on your adventures. So what's my final verdict of the SL25R? Overall, at the right price, it is definitely a capable Spotlight. It balances versatility and build quality in a way that feels well suited for outdoor adventures. For anyone who does a lot of hiking, camping and caving like me, it's a great companion. I wouldn't rely on it for any major long distance adventures, as it doesn't last that long and will require additional batteries, and also it's quite bulky and heavy. Overall, I would recommend this torch.